Dr. Asim Malik has
Yeah,
joined
live.
from USA. My
I think
God.
he's in the US. Is he?
What is the time in USA? 6:30 a.m.
Yeah. It has to be depending on whether he's on West Coast or East Coast. Time will depend on that. So if he's on East Coast, at least it is time which is early morning. West Coast, so it will be 4 a.m.
Dr. Asim, namaskar.
Hey.
What is the time in US?
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
He is on East Coast, that means.
Acha. Dr. Shashivani has to join. Na, bas,
I
and
think
then
she's on the attendee side.
Okay. Is it so? Oh, yeah, madam is there. Madam को faculty वाला भेजो यार. मैं भेज रहा हूँ. I'll just send.
No, you can promote, right? No need to log out and this thing. You can just promote to faculty so that otherwise.
They were promote madam to faculty. Yep. So, madam just coming to faculty, then I'll just start. Luigi, Manoj has done an incredible international kind of a webinar series for 3 years, 21, 22, 23, and I think 3.5, 2.5 and 3 years, which has the best of international neonatal experts, scientists, researchers, and quality people, different forums work all across the globe. And that is why he is so perfect on doing webinars. He's the perfect person to do organize any kind of webinar.
Wonderful.
Dr. Shashivani madam has come. Namaskar, ma'am. So,
Madam, good evening.
with the blessings of madam and with the
Good morning.
permission of,
Good morning, rather. Like.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's in Glasgow, UK. She's in UK. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Okay.
So, with the blessings of Dr. Shashivani, Madam, our past president NNF, Madam gives us all the source of energy and inspiration to carry out. She has been a big strength behind spreading KMC awareness across this part of continent, if not the whole of the world. And she's an international leader in KMC certainly. With your blessings, ma'am. As Secretary General of National Neurology Forum, I am thankful to all the faculty who are here and who have joined here, and all the participants who are joining from across the country for this very important webinar on increasing KMC awareness. As Madam, for the people, for the attendees certainly, KMC was somewhere started in 1978, which Madam may allude to later in Bogota by Edgar Ray and Martinez, and then it took some years until '89 when it again was started by Clark, and in 2011 or so, Emily Jackson, probably that is in 2011 because of Emily Jackson, whose son Jacari probably was a preemie who received, who was just above 2 pounds or so and received KMC for some duration and is now studying in a college. And they started the European Committee or consists on care of newborn infants, European Federation or Foundation EFCN. They started this day on 15th of May, and we have been religiously following this day every year. And with the blessings of all, this is very, very important for a National Neurology Forum to spread awareness. It is KMC and apparatus, the infrastructure regarding KMC is an essential mandatory criteria for accreditation of our NNF units as well. So we believe we are going to NMC and now Quality Control, Quality Council of India also to make our criteria mandatory for all medical colleges as well, so that the KMC criteria, which are embedded in that criteria, are now followed all across the medical colleges and SNCUs in that way only. With these words, and thanks to all the faculties and the senior people who are joined here, I request Dr. Shushma Nangia madam to just address. Dr.
Dr.
Manoj
Manoj.
first.
Dr.
Dr.
Manoj
VC
first.
Manoj. Dr. VC Manoj is a president-elect NNF 2024, and he will be taking over as president National Neurology Forum next year. He is currently working as professor and head at Jubilee Mission Medical College, Thrissur. Hope this is all, Dr. Manoj, for you.
Respected President Dr. Sushma Nangia, respected seniors, and my dear friends. We all have evolved with the evolution that in neonatology undergoes. And one thing that is wonderful about this whole science is that the most life-saving interventions that we talk about are the ones that are easily doable or the low-cost interventions, which we tend to overlook in the quest for high technology or whatever you want to call it. But now gone are those days. Now the whole issue is coming around, or rather we are going in circles now. Now we realize with more and more evidence coming in that the small interventions that we do make a lot of difference. This whole concept started from the antenatal steroids of the last century, but now more and more simple interventions which we thought are to be done just for the sake of doing it have all now have their own backing with the evidence. And kangaroo care is one such intervention which we now realize is going places. That's what I would say. And the more sick the baby is, the more is the need for kangaroo care. This is what is coming to the skin to the whole concept of skin to skin contact right from the time of birth, even before you officially start kangaroo care, is probably the best way to save the smaller ones, the small ones, the 400, 500 grams babies, leave alone the larger babies. So this is actually going in a different direction, and now with evidence we can back it up. So it is high time that we go back to this intervention which is low cost, which can be achieved in resource limited settings like India, where we have a lot of problems, where now you can actually do this and then get the whole benefits. Today evening, I was speaking to Professor Shashivani. We can, I think, call her the mother of father of kangaroo care in India. And Madam was one word that she said just struck me so much. She was just saying, like, I don't want my name to be known anywhere, but I wanted kangaroo care to be advocated everywhere, and probably that we should all do. We should adopt this intervention as our own and let us take it forward. Today we have, I am sure that we are going to enjoy all the discussion today. So with these words, I wish we have a great time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Dr. Shushma Nangia is the President, National Neurology Forum 2024. She has been forced again to spread awareness about simple measures to save babies, especially in public health facilities. And she has shown with her conscious, untiring efforts that it is possible. Dr. Shushma Nangia.
Yeah, thank you, Surinder. Namaskar, everybody. We are so happy that Dr. Shashivani Madam is with us over here. And from UNICEF, we have Luigi joining us, and we are hoping to see some other people as our development partners. And so grateful, Dr. Shobna Gupta, after 3 tiring days of being at the WHO meeting and then shuttling to the ministry in between, has been able to join us. So thank you, Dr. Shobna, Madam. Thank you, Dr. Asim. Thank you so much for joining in, Dr. Manoj. I know you are very busy at the present moment, but you could take out time to join. So thank you very much. So all I have to say is when you have a day dedicated to something, that means that thing is so important, but it's not being given that due time and importance, and hence it needs to be recognized as a day, like an international KMC day today. Ideally, we don't need to have days. It is every day, every baby who is eligible must undergo kangaroo mother care or kangaroo care by mother or some family member, because we all realize the audience here is very well aware of all the goodness and all the evidence that is there to support any baby. There is no other intervention that can be compared to kangaroo mother care as something that will help the baby in terms of myriads of things that will be taken care of. Of course, as Surinder said, it started somewhere in 80s outside or maybe 70s, but in India, 1995 was the year when few pediatricians got trained in kangaroo mother care from people who were from Mumbai, of course, Ahmedabad, someone from Rajasthan, Chandigarh, and then we had this kangaroo KMC initiative, a network of 5 centers, which was initiated formally in 2004, 20 years back. So there was a KMC network of these 5 centers that was started. And then the first KMC International Conference was organized by Madam in Ahmedabad in 2012. Madam, please correct me if the facts are incorrect. So 2012, and the foundation was formed in 2015, again with untiring efforts of Madam, with very little financial support, but yet she had the zeal and passion. So the KMC Foundation was formed. And then, of course, the government was also pushed to give out KMC guidelines, which came out in 2016 and which divided, no, KMC guidelines by the GOI. And in that, of course, it was divided that even if you do 4 hours of KMC, it is to be said something 4 to 8 hours, maybe long, 8 to 12 hours, extended, and so on, so that at least people did KMC. Otherwise, till then, it was just notional. Okay, KMC 1 hour in a day, and yes, we are doing KMC. And of course, from 2017 onwards, Madam has been organizing yearly conferences of KMC Foundation, and we have all been part of those conferences. They are low budget, but extremely informative and very well attended conferences. So I'm really happy that we have all this plethora of people who have joined us, and I'm sure we'll have more and more attendees joining in. We already have a number of something like 70 plus. And we're going to have keynote address by ma'am after Mr. Luigi has spoken to us and Dr. Shobna has spoken to us. So ma'am will have the keynote address on KMC zero separation, which is so close to her heart and to many of us as well. And then we'll have the panel discussion, which will be led by Dr. Chalani. So wishing all the best and just hoping that it doesn't start and end with just the 15th of May, but we do it every day. Thank you so much, Surinder.
Thank you, ma'am. And now Luigi Quino, he's a UNICEF child health consultant, and maybe I have to correct myself again and again. I always keep forgetting the post, and just forgive me for that, Luigi. And so he's looking after the child health of the country as from UNICEF side, and he has been so. He's a great
You
friend.
just say he is the boss in UNICEF and he is our friend. That's it.
He's a great friend of National Geologic Forum. Yeah, thank you, Luigi.
Thanks to you, Dr. Surender, and I'm so glad. This is always a joyful day for UNICEF in India and globally. And of course, here in India, we have the privilege of having Ma'am, who is, I think, the guru in the world when it comes to KMC. And because I think everybody online is waiting for her address, I will try to be as brief as I can. And first of all, I want to second what Dr. Sushma just said. We celebrate over a day, but it should be 365 days of then walking through this same celebration. I think nobody questions anymore the need and the gains. So my few words today is about what else is missing and what can we do more to continue in this journey of uptake in the community, in the facilities of the right approach in terms of quality, continuity, and coverage of kangaroo mother care. 2 days, I think it's 2 days back, there was this interesting publication on the Lancet. I don't know if any of you has had a chance to read it. That I think was issued exactly on the occasion of this celebration. And it speaks of, the title of the paper is The Road Ahead for Immediate Kangaroo Mother Care in Resource-Constrained Health Systems, which is something that applies to large part or pockets of India. And 2 or 3 takeaways I think I want to leave to this audience from this paper, then it's online and available. One is I started reading, and the first thing I read is no difference in mortality between control group and study group at day 7. But then as you go, significant relative reduction in mortalities of babies at day 28, 15%, which for small and sick newborns is huge. It's a massive, massive effect. But now, so message one, it's there, it's proven, it's big impact at 0 cost, more or less. The second, it requires continuity. Between 7 and 28, there are 20 days where things need to continue to happen. And to give continuity over long time, you need to tweak the health system, but you need a lot of education also in the community. This needs to be marketed better than Coca-Cola or anything else, because I think it still requires a lot of emphasis on the behaviors at home and on the willingness of the family to take up these efforts. The third and last point I want to make that comes out from this paper, which is my plea and my call to all of us, is clearly there is evidence on impact, but there is missing evidence on the implementation bottlenecks. So the Lancet calls for focused investments on implementation research to understand in various settings what are the specific bottlenecks that need to be removed. So this year I've been in this fantastic birthday celebration. I think this is my 5th year. This year, my message I want to leave is let us focus on quick, simple investigations that can help us understand what are those small things that need to be tweaked to continue bringing the coverage, the quality, the uptake up. And I'll close to say, when we work on the India Newborn Action Plan as a community, and many of you sit there, we continue talking of differentiating approaches across blocks, districts, states. And of course, that speaks to different requirement situations, epidemiology in every district. But in all the differentiation, KMC needs to be universal. There's no differentiation. We need to find the differentiated bottlenecks that help us to bring this to universal coverage everywhere in these 800 plus districts of the country. So I will leave it there. And again, on behalf of the entire UNICEF family in India, in the region and globally, please do count on us when it comes to something that is so clearly powerful. We are always there. When I hear 78, I'm also reflecting that there is something more that we haven't cracked in terms of what we need to do next. And therefore, my last emphasis again is let's research it and then act against it. Thank you so much. And I see Mom on screen, so I will leave it here. And congratulations again for organizing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Luigi. And I'm thankful to Dr. Vivek who has joined and Dr. Jyotsna Suri, madam who has joined over here. And the list of attendees is just mind-boggling. All our NNF state president and secretaries are there. Thank you all. Dr. Ruchi Nanavati madam is there. Dr. Shishma Malik is there. Dr. Lalan Bharti is there. In fact, the attendees are who's of neonatology are attending this webinar. We are really grateful to all of you. Dr. Shobna is going to address. Dr. Shobna is the Deputy Commissioner, Ministry of Deputy Commissioner Child Health, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. She is the one who has years and years of experience while doing a clinical mentorship or training or practice in Safdarjung Hospital, and she has a handful of doing KMC, and she has a rich experience herself. Dr. Shobna.
Thank you, Dr. Sivandar. Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you to NNF for, arranging and organizing this International KMC Day with no doubt, like everyone speaker, we don't have, I think there's no doubt about the benefits and everything about KMC. And we have all gathered here for a cause. And I can see all eminent and esteemed experts who have experience of decades for working for the cause. So definitely it speaks for itself, the cause we all have collected for. And as we all have elaborated about how it started in India and I would rather talk about the ministerial perspective, how the ministry is being has a vision to implement it. We started in 2014, as Dr. Sushma rightly pointed out, that 2014, the first guidelines for the Kangaroo mother care came out, and even the implementation wise, the system was created, the Kangaroo mother care ward, and that concept was disseminated throughout India. After that, definitely the concept of family participatory care also evolved with time along with that. So the good part about that is that the system has been, that awareness about the importance is already there. With the increasing evidence, as Luigi also pointed out, with the increasing evidence, implementation research going on, global evidence coming, and one of the important studies coming right from India about the importance of the mother newborn care unit, and definitely immediate KMC, there is a lot to do, and there is a road ahead which we have to follow in the coming years. And as a representative of the Government of India and having 1,000+ units across the country, with the involvement of the medical colleges, along with that, which are on top of it, definitely we have I would say, a good work to do collectively if we really want to disseminate the benefits of the KMC, not even for the stable babies, but even for our small and sick babies across the country. For that, as a in our country-wise, what is our vision is definitely to extend this KMC, not even to the facilities, as Dr. Vani, madam, always says, once the baby discharged. So it should be a continuum of care, extending till the community. So just to apprise you all that we are in the process that how to take it forward, not in the facilities, but also to the community as a more and more, because as we know that it is a weaker link now. Once our babies are getting discharged, they're going to the community. But the community KMC is one thing which we all need to propel, because most of the time the focus remains on the, being a clinician, we always think about the sick babies at the hospitals. So that is one thing where definitely that collaboration is required. Second is the concept of zero separation, which I'm sure in the panel discussion, Dr. Chilani and other would be, discussing much more. But as an implementation point of view, we need a support from all the units. We have the clinicians, Dr. Jyotsna is there. So that I think what we need, like the states are very proactive. I just want to praise you all. The moment we say and discuss something, I start receiving the mails, kindly share the things. So our states are really proactive right now. Fortunately, all the IAS and the mission directors in the states are very active to do the good thing. So we need to propel this concept, and that requires hand holding at the state level. As came out in the India Newborn Action Plan also, we have a lot of geographical variation, block-wise, district-wise. So that mapping we have done a lot at the GOI level also. But definitely that support of the NNF would be required in disseminating the concept of mother newborn care unit and a prolonged KMC. Even that change has been brought out in the revised FBNC guidelines also, where the new evidence about the duration of the KMC has already been incorporated. That minimum 8 hours should be done. So that concept, okay, that you have done just half an hour, 1 hour should not be the point. So we need to do that with the our increase the regional facility-based newborn care guidelines training would be done in the coming 6 months. There also we need to apprise about the new evidence right at the ground level, because our pediatricians, our neonatologists are well read. They know all the evidence. But our purpose is to take it to the ground level, to the medical officers who are working in the special newborn units, the pediatricians who do not have access to such information and the evidence generally. So that is my humble request, to act as the mentors, to do help in their capacity building at all the states and at all levels, so that we actually, as we said, it should not be one day. Rather, we should be able to take it forward as a country, and the world should know that the India is leading in providing zero separation of the mother and the newborn. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shobna. And as rightly said by Madam also, we had Dr. Vivek, Shobna, Luigi, Dr. Deepthi, had a very hectic last 3 days of WHO Technical Advisory Group meeting occurring in Delhi only of Southeast Asia region. And Dr. Shushma and us also were there. So it was a very hectic day. And Madam, just because KMC is so important and close to us, that Dr. Harish Shilani was there. And thank you all for who are joining. I see a name of Dr. Rekha Udani, Madam, as the attendee. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Ashwini Su, Dr. So many people from East, West have joined. Thank you all for joining today for this program. Thank you, Dr. Shobna, for these words. And with these words, we are coming to our keynote address. Our keynote address is on as told by Dr. Manoj, the mother of KMC in India, Dr. Shashiwani. She was the president of NNF when National Newborn Week started in 2010 or so. And
not earlier.
2000.
2000.
2000.
So yeah.
Year 2000.
So it has been 24 years now. Yeah. So Vivek remembers it better than me. Okay. So it's in 2000. Yeah. So ma'am was the president that time. Ma'am, आप इतने बड़े लगते नहीं हो. अच्छा. So that way, ma'am, please, the keynote address is on zero separation and KMC. Deborun, are you going to do the sharing the screen and showing? Deborun, ma'am,
Yeah.
Dr. Deborun, our administrator will show the slides. That is fine, ma'am?
Okay. Yeah, that is fine. Please.
Please, Deborun.
By the time they organize the slides,
Yeah, please, Karen. Deborun, we are yeah.
first
Ma'am,
of
can
all,
you-
I thank the National Neonatology Forum. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and also to know about the grand celebration of the International KMC Awareness Day this time. And this time, I just wanted to say, almost in 93, 94, we had started KMC ward in India first. It's 30 years now, almost 3 decades are going on, but still I find a long way to go. Of course, we have made many strides, but a long way to go. And today I will just stick to the topic of zero separation concept and the role which Kangaroo Mother Care has to play in this concept. Next one, please. So we learnt about this concept during our international conference in 2012 from Dr. Niels Bergman and also from numerous studies which were presented at that time on the effect of neuroprotection and neurodevelopment which Kangaroo Mother Care had and the role it can play in a developmentally supportive care. So at least I heard the concept first from Dr. Niels Bergman about the zero separation of mother and her baby. And right from that time itself, we included it in our mission statement. That is, mother's chest is the best place for the newborn care. Mother's milk is the best food for the newborn. And zero separation of mother and her baby is one of the important concepts to have a developmentally supportive care, which will have impact not only immediate outcome, but for the long-term outcome also. At the same time, we had a vision that Kangaroo Care becomes a routine care for all the newborns, including the full-term babies. Though it may be needed only for a few hours or few days in the beginning for the full-term babies, still it has a lot of benefits. So need not be only restricted to preterm and small for date babies or small low birth weight babies. But at the same time, all the babies who are less than 2000 gram or preterm babies, we must make sure that they don't miss out on Kangaroo Mother Care. They have a particular benefits, special benefits, and that is why our emphasis is on preterm and low birth weight babies. Next one, please. And as all of us are aware now, the current thrust for the newborn care is not mere survival, but overall well-being and thriving well with good intelligence, love, and good quality of life. And Dr. Meherban Singh has very emphatically expressed his desire that survival of the newborn should be an asset to the community, asset to the society and the nation, and not a liability to the nation. So in short, we want an intact survival, good thriving well, and in this, Kangaroo Mother Care definitely has a very, very fundamental role to play. Next one. So in this concept, we will have two aspects in presentation here. Section 1, we will talk about the few of the basic aspects of why zero separation of mother and her baby is being strongly recommended and what is the neuroscience of zero separation. Only the basic few points we'll mention here. And in the second part, how we can try to achieve zero separation as much as possible in our clinical care. In short, how we can interpret this science into an art. So that is how we are going to tackle here. Next one. So current method of care of small and sick babies, and even to some extent, even the normal newborns, is based on routine separation of baby from the mother. We, with our best knowledge and intentions, we try to put these babies in special care units or intensive care units, separate them from the mother, and then we feel we can give the best care to the babies. Even normal newborns, as I mentioned, very often under the pretext of keeping the babies under observation, we separate the babies. Say, for example, cesarean babies are immediately taken to the special newborn care units. Twins or multiple pregnancies, they are taken. Meconium stain aspiration or any mother with bad obstetric history, her baby is also taken there. IVF baby is also taken, separated from the baby. So in all these contexts, we try to separate the baby from the mother. But the new knowledge does not justify this separation, makes a strong case for zero separation. And even in the recently past COVID era also, we found we had full justification in keeping the babies and mothers together, weighing the risks and benefits. So all these points we have to keep in mind when we make a strong case for zero separation of the baby from her mother, her or his mother. Next. Next one, please. So currently, we keep all the high-risk babies, sick babies in the special care units under all the experts and equipments. Somebody has described that emotionless experts and equipments. Because here we try to give all the best possible care which we think scientifically justifiable. But the mother's emotion, love and care, that very important basic fundamental aspect is missing. Next. And even when we are trying to give the care also, next one please. We are trying to give as much care as possible, which is mimicking the care in the womb. We try to give the nesting to the baby. We try to give the comfort and the warmth and the feeding and everything, simulating the womb care. Next one. But it has been found that preterm care, which is aiming for the similar to womb care, is technologically based in NICU care, which is a poor substitute for womb. It is the natural kangaroo mother care environment, that is mother's care, keeping the baby on her chest with all the love and care, which we describe it as the loving hug of the mother and her baby. That environment is very essential for the optimum neuroprotection and neurodevelopment of the baby. Nothing can substitute that. And continuous intrauterine and extrauterine environment shape this developing brain. Of course, it is a great challenge, but first of all, we have to be convinced about its importance and try to convince our mothers also to take up this challenging aspect of the baby care. Next. This is a very good slide, again borrowed from Niels Bergman, that whenever the baby is in incubator, all of us, we know there are so many developmentally harmful effects are occurring, and we have developed several developmentally supportive care programs for the babies in SNCUs and NICUs. So babies are subjected to strange sounds, scary smells, bright lights, and baby's body also stresses, brain also stresses. And because of that, baby is in high metabolic state with a lot of neurohormonal changes occurring. And because of that, high energy demand is there and so many other changes are happening. And these are all not good for the baby's development. Growth also is affected. Stress is also there and multiple harmful effects are there. Next. And baby is separated from mother. Infant's brain works in a stress mode. And this release of stress hormones and stress neurotransmitters, they stop and delay the normal brain development, impairs cognitive and self-regulatory development of infant. I have just referred a few studies here, but there are many, many more studies now justifying and supporting the same concept. Next. So this stress, as it has been very well brought out in one of the UNICEF documents, it has got 3 levels: positive stress, tolerable stress, and toxic stress. Next, positive stress. Next slide, please. This positive stress is somewhat a moderately short-lived stress response. And here, precipitants include a minimal discomfort, external stimuli, tiredness, hunger, thirst, but it is found to be an important, necessary aspect of healthy development that occurs in the context of a stable and supportive relationship. Relationship with mother and her baby predominantly. In some other cases, substitutes may be there. Next one. Now coming to the tolerable stress level. Here also the precipitating factors are absence of mother, painful procedures, harsh lighting, and so on. But this is generally occurs within a time-limited period and gives the brain an opportunity to recover from potentially damaging effects. So this is the stress which is occurring many times. And next one is the toxic stress. Now, this is the main concern part here for us. that in SNCUs and NICUs, with our good intentions, we very often separate the babies from the mothers, and that continuous absence of a parent, multiple interventions and procedures which are not buffered by parent support, they are all the precipitating factors for this toxic stress. And if this prolonged activation of the stress response continues, it produces excessive cortisol, decreases the growth hormone, and disrupts the development of the brain architecture and even the other organ systems. Next. And it has got immediate and long-term effects also. So in terms of care of the very preterm babies, very low birth weight babies, sick babies, when the toxic stress response occurs continuously or is triggered by multiple sources, including separation from the mother, multiple procedures, multiple exposure to noxious stimuli, and so on, it can have a cumulative toll on an individual's physical and mental health for a lifetime. So this is the main concern. Second one. Next. And the same thing is shown here. I'm just putting the summary of each statement here. In normal stress, a normal baby, there are typical neurons with multiple synaptic connections. They are stimulated by multiple sensory stimulation and they grow well. But when toxic stress occurs to the baby, as I already mentioned, by continued absence of the parent, as well as multiple exposure to noxious stimuli and so on, that disrupts, damages the neurons and their connections, and sometimes they may not even regenerate, and they have long-term effects also, impact also. Next one. And the same thing now has been supported by many animal experiments also, that when the rat pups are separated from their mothers, they become distressed and they express so many of the adverse effects, including increased vocalization, decreased thermogenesis, behavioral changes, and so on. Similar thing we find babies who are in incubator, they are also having. Increased crying happens, increased activity is occurring, heart rate is also more, and then growth hormone is decreased, cortisol levels are increased, no sleep cycles are there, increased arousals are there, decreased quiet sleep is there, and all these multiple factors lead to the toxic stress, continued effect, and the long-term impacts. Next. Another aspect which we have to remember here is, during this initial few days or few hours of the neonatal period, the neural circuits that process basic information are very vital and they are important. If they are wired well, on that, the more complex information can be built up. We cannot say that right now, let us separate the babies and then we will come back again and compensate for that. That may not happen. So higher circuits are built on lower circuits. Skills beget skills. So the development of higher level capabilities are more difficult if lower level circuits are not wired properly. And this lower level basic circuit wiring happens in the first few days in the newborn period. And that time, Kangaroo mother care plays a very, very crucial role. Next. Another important aspect is now emerging. We used to think crying is normal or sometimes even required for the newborn. But I have been told that this modern science now does not approve this cry. Cry reduces growth hormone and increases cortisol secretion. Cry is a precipitant for, means an expression of stress level, and this cortisol enables survival at the cost of extra energy spending. And for that, the newborns have to generate extra energy. Demand for energy is more. Hypoglycemia incidence is more, which again leads to neurological damage, and the problems continue. Non-separated babies' energy is conserved and they are available for development. And non-separated babies, they have good sleep, less cry, less stress, and all the beneficial effects. Whereas separated babies, their quiet sleep is also reduced. Their autonomic pattern is also similar to that of a threatened baby or an abused baby. And many adverse reactions, including lowered immunity and quality of survival is much affected. So zero separation is biologically normal and improves the quality of survival in a newborn. Next. So when the babies are kept on mother's chest, right, as early as possible, as soon as possible, as long as possible, then the babies are exposed to familiar heartbeat, reassuring voice from the mother, contact and touch. And all of us, we know all the 5 basic sensations are stimulated much better when the baby is on mother's chest, and that leads to many beneficial effects. So body also comes, brain also comes, and attached emotional intelligence and health and development, all pathways are occurring here. Next. And same thing when the baby is being fed on mother's chest, the multiple modal stimulation occurring, strengthening the synaptic connections and leads to intelligence development. So compounding effect occurs. So breastfeeding is part of kangaroo mother care, not separate thing. That also has to be remembered. So here again, once again, I remind, even after 20 years of continued training in KMC, still we hear people saying that holding the baby on mother's chest is skin-to-skin contact and that is kangaroo mother care. No, kangaroo mother care has got 3 basic components. All the 3 are equally important. Holding the baby on mother's chest is one aspect, that is kangaroo position. Second thing is promotion of breast milk feeding, either direct breastfeeding or express breastfeed, but mother's milk should be given to the baby. That is equally an important component inclusive in the kangaroo mother care. And third important part is having a planned early discharge, family participatory care, and regular scheduled follow-up. All these 3 components, including family participatory care, is important aspect of kangaroo mother care, which is again an important aspect of basic essential newborn care. Next. So this is the most appropriate developmentally supportive care model for all the infants. Same thing has been borne out here, which I have repeatedly said. It prevents the pain, diminishes the intensive stress, prevents depression both in the mother as well as in the baby, and so many other things. Next. And why we are talking about kangaroo mother care as developmentally supportive care? Kangaroo mother care is baby put on skin-to-skin contact on mother's chest. No skin-to-skin contact in any other place is equivalent to the skin-to-skin contact on mother's chest. Because in some of the developmentally supportive care programs, even the baby held on for breastfeeding, tummy to tummy, that is also skin-to-skin contact. Mothers holding the baby for holding the love, cheek to the mother's body also is there, and other places also. But chest is a very important place because the oxytocin producing cells are much higher in the chest, and the special vascularity is much higher on the mother's chest. The moment the baby is put on their direct skin-to-skin contact on mother's chest, these special effects are much more effective and the oxytocin is generated very. And that is why we do not equate skin-to-skin contact in any other place with kangaroo mother care. Actually, it should be qualified. Skin-to-skin contact on mother's chest is kangaroo mother care. That should effect come. And all of us, we know oxytocin plays a major role, and there are other endocrines also, and other neurohormones also have some contributory factors. Next. So with all these basics, we now know that separation causes harmful effects of dysregulation and subsequent epigenetic changes. And so mother's body is biologically the normal place for care of the newborn. Next. And the same point has been now supported by even experts from other part of the country, continents also, particularly Scandinavian countries, where incubators and staff and availability of the funds are all no issues, still they consider the new place for care of the preterm infant is the chest of his or her parents. With all these background, that it has the best foundation for the early child development and the best developmentally supportive care. Of course, other factors are there, including nurture, well-being, and so on. Next. So with this background now, we want to know what is our clinical application. So I request here, I will just take quickly, think of all possible situations in your NICU or SNCU to keep the mother and her baby together, minimize their separation. So I request everyone to have an audit round almost every day or alternate day, why this baby could not be put on kangaroo mother care. Then develop proper protocols which are appropriate for your NICU levels, depending on the capacity of your staff, depending on your turnover of the patients, you should develop your own protocols. But zero separation should be high on your mind. Proper explanation, counseling, and motivation is required to be combined with good quality training. Good quality training, I'm not saying in the beginning. First, I'm talking about explanations, counseling, and motivation of the staff, then to be built up with equally important aspect of good quality of training of all your staff, not only nurses, but even the doctors, consultants also. That is a very, very major factor which we have to remember. Then, of course, it has to be transmitted to the counseling of the parents with their family members for so many things, for their cooperation, compliance, and conviction in kangaroo mother care. Otherwise, very often parents feel that kangaroo mother care does not equate to the glorious, glamorous care which is expected in an intensive care unit with all the incubators and lines and tubes going on. So ensure a stress-free newborn and mother with better quality outcome. Next. So with this background, then we, again, I said, for all the newborns, including term babies, immediate skin-to-skin contact on mother's chest is an important factor. Before cutting the cord, you can put the baby on mother's abdomen. Soon after the delayed cutting cord, immediately quick drying and shift the baby on mother's chest, breast crawl, and so on. So this is an important thing. But here, keep the baby at least for 1 hour to have the good effect. Only when you keep the baby for minimum of 1 hour with some positive efforts for promotion of breastfeeding, this care can be called as kangaroo mother care. Otherwise, it is mere skin-to-skin contact. It may not have any impact. So that one part we have to remember. Only those babies who require advanced resuscitation or any life-saving intervention, they may not be put on mother's chest immediately. But minimal interventions for resuscitation also can be done keeping the baby on mother's chest. Next. Now coming to the sick babies, and of course they have the immediate skin-to-skin contact for at least 1 hour, and it has got several benefits, including for the breast milk production, early secretion and early promotion. Next one. Next one, please. And of course, early mother-baby bonding, and of course, less cry regulates the baby's body temperature, reduces hypoglycemia, physiological stabilization of heart rate and respirations occur earlier, and there is less release of cortisol stress hormone. And recently I was told a very good point added here, baby is exposed to mother's microbiome earlier itself, and that adds to the immunity of the baby and several other benefits. So this is one simple intervention we must universalize, and there is no excuse for this. Next. And even in the KMC time also, as a corona time also, we encourage this loving body hug between the mother and baby, which I have already alluded to. Next. Now we will pass to. So we have now understood zero separation is biologically normal, and the same philosophy has to be taken even in the SNCUs and NICUs also. And it must be attempted as much as possible. As I already said, we can take an audit round and find out what best we can do to keep the babies and mothers together. And that includes even the cesarean babies also, even the sick babies also, which now IKMC has already illustrated that offering some of the facilities and combining with our teamwork with obstetricians, we can achieve mothers in the NICUs and which can save many babies even within the first 48 hours itself. I don't have to go in detail about that, but we have to remember that even sick and very small babies also can be safely given kangaroo mother care for much larger benefit. Next. So soon after birth, immediate skin to skin contact. Next. We will quickly pass through this. How we can translate that?
Thank you, ma'am.
Cesarean also, I said, even before the baby operation is completed, the baby can transmit it on mother's chest, and breast milk also can be promoted, and even this. And for that, we can take the help of our alternate KMC providers from the family or friends, and we have to take the complete attendance from the anesthetist and obstetric colleagues also. We have to develop a system. Next. Twins also can be done. Next. CPAP also can be done. Next. Even mechanical ventilation also is now being tried and they have found several benefits. So we must now take some bold steps in encouraging this. Next. Even ultrasonography and all the procedures also can be done keeping the baby on mother's chest. Even ROP testing also can be done keeping the baby on mother's chest. Even extubation and all such painful measures also, if they are done keeping the baby on mother or father's chest, baby feels the pain less and the results are much better. Next. And just showing how we can translate this philosophy in our day-to practice. Even when they are taking out express breast milk also, if the baby is kept on mother's chest, mother's yield is much more and mother also feels comfortable. And same thing can be done even for the baby mothers who are coming to donate milk for the breast milk banks also. Keep the babies on KMC and then you take out the milk. It has got high yield. Next. And even for mild to moderate painful procedures, if you keep the baby on kangaroo care for at least 10 to 15 minutes and then do the procedures, the baby cries less and the baby feels the pain much less and the yield is less. Of course, the other pain relieving measures like cluster care and planning and other things have to be done. But combining it with kangaroo mother care has lots of benefits. And I would suggest that even when early KMC we are practicing soon after birth, that time itself after about 10 or 15 minutes, when the baby is still on mother's abdomen or chest, we can give vitamin K injection. That is also one intervention worth introducing. Next. Next, please. During transport also KMC can be done. We have separate guidelines also for that. When you discharge the baby from hospital, make sure that you put the baby in KMC position and then discharge so that mother gets the confidence to take the baby, carry the baby in KMC position, mother or her helpers. And the same way, when they bring back the babies for follow-up, we can ask them to follow the same procedure. Thereby, we can improve. And this is also one measure of zero separation. As far as possible, through all these measures, even during the procedures, even during the management thing, we can keep the sick babies also with the mother and minimize the separation from mother and her baby. Next. And in all these things, our colleagues from obstetrics, we have to take them along with us as a team, along with our nurses and paramedical staff, and we have to develop. So in short, if possible, no baby should be separated from their mother. And if at all due to some life-saving interventions, we had to separate, introduce skin-to-skin care on mother's chest as soon as possible and as often as possible. So it is huge disservice to mothers when their newborns are separated from them. One of our senior colleagues from Vietnam, she put it in a very nice way. By separating the mother babies from the mothers, you are putting the babies in jail. You are putting them in conviction, and then you are putting them in all the timely food, whether they like it or not, and all the schedule is also according to your thing. Strict separation is there. So it is no better than putting the babies in jail. So that way, effectively, she has conveyed the importance of zero separation. She has
Okay,
added
ma'am.
so many other things. Because of time limit, I'm not saying. Next. So in short, a paradigm shift is now being recommended. KMC was started because incubators were not available, but now we should incubators and warmers only when KMC is not possible. So that philosophy, if we adopt, we can bring out this paradigm shift in the baby's care. And then, of course, we will have many benefits. So please give a serious thought to it. Don't trivialize kangaroo mother care as if it is a poor man's incubator. Even in the best of the centers, it has got lots of benefits. Next. And it has been now included in the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative also. People call it Neo BFHI. It is no more new. It is part of it. Fourth element is already there. And on the same pattern, now we want to develop next one. 10 steps for successful kangaroo mother care also. This I have given from the other countries. We can sit, give a thought, modify it according to our country's needs, and we should propagate it big way, and we should label our accreditation system depending on these 10 points of successful
Sure, ma'am.
KMC.
This is a good
Just
idea.
as we said, Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, KMC Friendly Hospital Initiative also, NNF is the best person to say, and we have been talking to all the professional organizations for this. Next. So thank you very much for this idea. Within a given time, I'll try to give you my best message. Please do not separate the babies from the mothers as far as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And for the knowledge, again, I'm reiterating, madam has traveled to UK, just reached UK today morning, a few hours ago only, and she could not settle well at home in Glasgow. And still she said, I will join. And she gave me the slides. I think you must have reached there only and immediately mailed me the slides. And I think, and then she was quite concerned that whether the slides are okay. And then Dr. Somsekhar was also, Somsekhar also did it. And madam, you are so perfect and so organized and so sorted. And I think that kind of um, uh, com- contentment comes with the kind of service you have been doing and the results which you are getting uh, by doing that service. Thank you, madam. Dr. Shushma, if you want to say something.
No, profound thanks, ma'am. Gratitude that we are grateful that we have you speaking today on this topic, and nobody would have fitted this better. So thank you so much. Even despite the fact that you are not here, you've taken out time and you've been with NNF. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shushma. Now, thank you, ma'am. Now for the panel discussion, which is on KMC and newborn survival. So we had a concept of zero separation and the benefits of zero separation, and all that. And for this, the survival saga, the survival story, which Luigi just alluded to when we are giving a benefit of 15% or so, a huge effect. And a similar kind of effect size was first demonstrated from one of the centers in India as well, in a multi-center trial. And Dr. Harish Shalani, Professor Harish Shalani from Safdarjung Hospital, Vardhan Mahavir Medical College and Safdarjung Hospital, the HOD of that time, sir has shown that it can be done, and a new flavor, a new terminology has come to KMC, iKMC. It's certainly not with iPhone KMC. It is iKMC. Dr. Harish Shalani, and you have your panelists, very important panelists, whom you can introduce.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sushma Nangia. Thank you, Dr. Bish, and the NNF team for giving me the opportunity to moderate this very important session. And thank you, Dr. Shashiwani ma'am. We just had the Mother's Day day before, and then hearing from the mom of the KMC. It's a great, ma'am, salute to you to begin with. And this is a great opportunity which Sushma and Abhishek has given me to moderate this session. I've gotten very extreme, you know, panel who has got a great experience. In fact, I was thinking after the madam's, presentation, is there any need for this a panel discussion? Number one.
Correct.
But I feel maybe yes, madam has made a great foundation, and we can discuss the some of the barriers or the facilitators or the experience of the people at the ground level. Despite knowing the evidence, why the things are not happening, both in the private sector, government sector, facility, or at a community level. So, and we have an excellent panel. Dr. Kumuta, who has been the neonatologist and the lot of experience at the field, and welcome, Dr. Kumuta, for this panel discussion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Can I have my panelist videos on? Dr. Vivek Singh from UNICEF. He is the lead person from the child specialist at Delhi office, and a very keen, person to take this concept forward. I have been with him on a couple of the occasions, and very keen and to take it forward. Dr.
Pleasure,
Deepti,
sir.
can we see you, Vivek? Yes. Okay. Great.
So my video is on.
Yes.
Pleasure
Great.
to be here.
Okay. Fine. Fine. Then I've got Dr. Deepti Agarwal from World Health Organization country office, and always ready to support the country at different platforms. Thank you, Dr. Deepti, being with us for this. Then I've got Dr. Asim Malik, a great friend of mine, great clinician, and we would hear from him the practical aspects or the barriers in the private practice, why these things are not happening. And Dr. Jyotsna Suri, our obstetrician colleague from Safdarjung Hospital, and as Madam rightly said, without the cooperation of the obstetrician, this is not possible. And I've got Dr. Mala from KGMU. So I have not missed any, I hope. Yes. And one more, I personally, I feel it's my mistake not to include the nursing colleague, because that's again a key individual for this, panel discussion. Madam has touched actually these, and I will start with Dr. Mala. People that, change or discuss these terminologies, skin to skin or kangaroo mother care, quite interchangeably. So, is there any difference between the skin to skin care in the definition, or what is a KMC? So I'm not opening the importance of this intervention, because that madam has already, spoken on to this. Dr. Mala, please.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for the question. And as Dr. Vani has already told us, skin to skin care can hold for all babies, term babies as well as preterm babies, and usually involves the attachment of the contact of the skin of the mother and the baby for a few minutes or 1 hour, especially after birth. While when we are talking about KMC, then though KMC can be given for term babies also, but the word KMC is especially used for babies who are born preterm or low birth weight. And it does include skin to skin care, but along with that, it has two other very important factors. One being exclusive breastfeeding, by the mother, then supporting the family and planning an early discharge and also giving attention to follow up. So it's a composite thing, KMC, and not just skin to skin care.
Thanks, Mala. I think important point which also you mentioned here, that it is for all babies in the first 1 hour, not only for the thermal protection but also for initiation of the breast milk feeding, and this is for all babies. And as Dr. Shashivani Madam has also highlighted, that doing less than 1 hour is rather more stressful to the babies, so it should be at least that. And but here I would like to ask the straight question to Dr. Kumda. Though it's said that it's important and skin to skin attachment has been there in guidelines for a long time, but what are the challenges? I would come to Dr. Jyotsna Suri also, because they are the people who are in the labor room. But what are the barriers which, our coverage is very low, or intent is there, but action is not there in the birthing place? I'm saying I'm at present leaving the cesarean section, but what about the normal deliveries? Dr. Kobita.
Uh, as you said, this skin to skin contact initiation in the labor room has to be done for both cesarean and normal vaginal delivery. But even for normal vaginal delivery, we do find challenges. Especially, I feel the first challenge is that we have not accepted it as part of the program or a protocol we have to follow during delivery. This acceptance has not happened both with the pediatrician or the person who's conducting the delivery, the obstetrician. So both the teams now are coming to terms, they are understanding the importance of this and have started doing it, but we need high level of commitment to practice this. So that is one thing. And again, the obstetrician feels taking care of the mother at that point is the most important thing, and she needs to be less disturbed. And the pediatrician feels, okay, it is not my area now to go and interfere till I start initiation of breastfeeding. But having said that, now most of the hospitals are putting the babies onto the abdomen soon after delivery if the baby is stable. So that concept has gone. And the places in some of the states where I visited, this concept has gone and they are trying to do it definitely. Second thing is also delayed cord clamping is being practiced. I would say more than 80% being practiced. And even moving the baby onto the chest happens. But their main problem, they say, once we move on to the baby, we cannot stand there for 1 hour to take care of the baby and the mother. And we are worried about this baby falling down or baby thing. So we need one person. But again, the government of India has given clear guidelines to have the birth companion to be allowed in the labor room. Though this guideline has come long ago to us, that is not being implemented, more so in medical colleges. In fact, I see primary health center or other district hospital. Recently, I saw 1 month ago, they are allowing birth companions, and this has been part of the Lakshya program also, and so they are allowing. But they do not have the faith with that attendant to do this job of taking care of the baby and the mother just initiating breastfeeding for an hour. And again, this part of the care is not being explained to the mother or the attendant prior to the delivery, in the antenatal period, or just before the delivery. So these are the main, I think, barriers which make our practice of skin to skin contact even in a normal delivery. Least to say that cesarean section, there are other much more barriers. But having said that, the anesthetic team also has to be taken care of into this cesarean section, because if we want to practice skin to skin contact in the table itself, operation table, we need their help. So that is another group of team which whom we have to include. See that we practice skin to skin contact in cesarean section. But it is improving, I would say, both in the government and the private sector. But for us, very motivated people we need to have, and that is what we need to do.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for highlighting the very key issues: the preparing the mother and the also the companion. But we'll listen from obstetrician's perspective, Dr. Jyotsna. You had been working in a hospital where daily 80 to 100 deliveries are happening, and I know initially being at Safdarjung Hospital there, these initial rates were very low, but you had done something to change this. With the delivery tables or other things, which the concerns which Dr. Kumda has shared. So can you highlight Dr. Jyotsna Suri?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Bisht and Dr. Chalani, Dr. Sushma Nangia, NNF, to give an obstetrician chance to come and discuss their perspective in this very important KMC day. So, sir, talking about the challenges, yes. So, I was very fortunate to be part of the clinical investigator team for the IKMC project under your leadership. And you have seen the struggle of the obstetric team also. But it was difficult, but not impossible. And I would like to say that whether it is the obstetrician or the pediatrician, I think every one of us want the mother to go home with the live baby. I mean, that is what motivates us, that we have to give our best so that the baby is going to be, okay and goes home with the mother. Otherwise, our 9 months labor is a waste. So, talking about, yes, there are problems, especially regarding the staff. So it is not safe on the delivery tables to start the initial KMC, the skin to skin contact. Of course, we are doing as part of, this is totally, absolutely done for each and every case in our hospital. But the nurse is holding the baby on the mother's chest initially for a few moments till the cord is clamped and cut. So all that procedure is going on. But talking about the immediate KMC, which is within the first 2 hours. So the small babies who require the immediate KMC, the challenges are that somebody has to hold. So what we did, we procured some delivery beds, so the LDR beds, which they are called. So where the mother can be cared during the antenatal time, during the first and second stage of labor. She can deliver on the bed, and then after that she can there are railings, and the position of the bed can be changed. So she can be at a 45-degree and very safely and securely do the KMC. So during the time we were doing the project, we didn't have the beds initially, but we procured them. And now we have 4 such beds in both our labor rooms. So all the women who are having to do the immediate KMC are nursed on those beds. Then besides that, the other challenge is, having, like, if you have the KMC garments, so the mother, that baby is very
So
safe
we'll
if
come
we
to
have the white.
Dr. Jyotsna about the KMC government later, but I mean
Yes,
immediately first point you highlighted that there has to be the proper table, actually LDR table, which you call it,
the bed.
not without, because at that time mother is after delivery drowsy and in the phase of sleep. Either some companion has to be there or who can keep that. We'll come to that immediate KMC concept little later, actually.
Right.
Uh, I will just go to Dr. Vivek quickly, actually, on this, that this guidelines has been there, and you had been supporting in the implementation of this intervention in various, UNICEF supported states. Uh, what do you find in your assessments, the apart from the barriers which they have talked about, Dr. Kumada, and this, and of course, as Dr. Kumada said, the even the healthcare providers are not still convinced. So, do you feel Any additional issues on this?
First of all, sir, thank you for this panel, and also always good to see Dr. Shashi Vani ma'am championing this. And as I've mentioned also many times in the past, we need such champions at every level, even in facilities. And thinking of the barriers, sir, I totally feel, after having seen this for such a long time, that there has to be a carrot and stick approach both. And let me tell why I'm saying this, because science is so simple, well understood, everybody knows this. If there is a facility which is overloaded, there, if people say we are challenged in terms of time, we are not able to give attention to every child in the SNCU or NICU, whatever setup with the mothers. If they are under-resourced in terms of the space that is required or anything else, then it is fine. But despite having fully functional units which are well-resourced, if it is still not being done, I think then we have to have a different approach. And I heard this rollout of the newer guidelines which are coming and which are very many in pipeline, including the IKMC evidence that has come and that is being translated into the guidances. I think what we need to do is we should put KMC as a quality marker more emphatically in all assessment of the units. For example, as UNICEF, for a very long time, for our own internal monitoring and evaluation indicators, we were looking at districts where the gap between the institutional delivery was more than 10%, the institutional delivery and early initiation of breastfeeding. And as Dr. Vani ma'am also emphasized, this distinction of 3 core components of KMC and not just the skin to skin contact, how many ever times it is required, that needs to be made. And that is where, when we were monitoring this indicator, that what are the various, because health and nutrition teams are separate in UNICEF, when they are providing support to the states, what are the steps that are being taken to ensure that this gap of early initiation of breastfeeding, which could be a good tracer, if by that time we did not have direct measurement of KMC in units, and that could also be flawed. So we were trying to monitor that. So I think that is one point, that if we make this very emphatically, that if some facility is going to be quality certified, there are going to be certain markers which will have precedence over the others. And we will have to give this simple solution a very high priority.
Okay, so what we learned is that, allowing the companion, as we have the provision in the Lakshya program, and as we learned from Dr. Bisht, even the professional bodies have put it as a, quality issue in the assessment of their recognition of the facilities, and you have highlighted on the quality outcome indicator. We move further actually on, Dr. Asim. I mean, 60% of the care we have in the private sector, and government guidelines are, generally seen, and people feel in the private sector they are for the, government facilities. What about the private facilities? How much do you see is the resistance of the immediate skin to skin or KMC in the private sector actually? How you are looking that and in the practice?
Yeah, you see that although I am a doctor of public sector, because I am a teaching personnel in the institution, I think that we are taking so many parts at a time. That's why we are failed. Because you see that our target should be that all the babies should be done the skin to skin contact at birth. That should be the first priority. Yes, 100% achievement, because, and you see that being a facilitator in a big hospital, we are starting the skin to skin contact from 10 to 15%. Now it is in the 100% in case of normal delivery. Why? Because that each and every delivery of our institution is conducted by a trained person, then PG. So you see that in our state in West Bengal, we have think that 50% mortality from the medical colleges and 50% in districts. And district level doing a very good job than the medical colleges. So medical colleges, I think that it take the priority that you have to each and every delivery should be governed by a 10% because there is a medical person. There is no dearth of human policy. So you start there. Similarly, with the help of UNICEF, we have conducted a KMC training in a private sector. And you see that in private sector, skin to skin contact, delayed cord clamping, and early initiation of breastfeeding is still lacking. Although we have achieved is 80 to 70%, 70 to 80% in government sector, in private sector, don't believe in that they have to put the baby on skin to skin contact. You have to delay cord clamping, even you have to the kangaroo mother care. They are now promoting the exclusive breastfeeding till birth somehow, but there's a difficult. You see that with the help of UNICEF, we have given the training for 5 priority districts in our state, and we have seen that still now the nursing personnel are the main person for conducting the KMC. No medical officer is least involved. They are saying that do the KMC, but that will not be sufficient. So medical officer should involve to doing the kangaroo mother care, all the nursing, and then the record keeping is there, nil. You see that essential from data shows that 17 to 80% is there. It is 17% there is a kangaroo mother care, and there is no duration. They are doing the yes or no. So if you have to achieve that at least 8-hour kangaroo mother care, data recording is a priority. What is the data recording of postnatal ward? This is not only the essential part is coming
Okay,
here.
Dr. Asim, you have raised a very important point that currently
Dr.
HSC
Harish,
system-
Dr. Harish,
Yeah,
can
sorry.
I make a point, because it is so unlikely of me to not speak for so long. So, and more so when I've got a few of the pointers, as far as 2 points actually I want to make, which Dr. Malik said about medical colleges need to lead by example, which Dr. Jyotna Suri just said. So they invested in something which is bearing results, and this investment in terms of some 20,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees per bed, or even a lakh or 5 lakh rupees per bed, will count to so many babies saved. So this is a very smart investment for all medical colleges. They should not shun away from investing, as Dr. Jyotna Shuri has done it. So, and we see in Dr. Mala Kumar is there in UP, in all centers in UPs. There is a CL, KMC lounges where beds are made, where at least there are semi-fowler beds which are available in KMC lounges, and that has made the life so simple for that. That is the enabler. So that kind of a simple investment. It's one-time investment, and that's continuing for this. And the other was about having the medical colleges becoming a role model, because all the postgraduates are going to come out of those medical colleges, and they are then going to practice in their relative hospital and district. If they don't experience the kind of passion, the kind of work which has been done in Safdarjung or Lady Harding Medical College or Ahmedabad or Chennai ICH or KGMU, these are the places all the medical college should be a role model, so that the postgraduates who are coming out of it can practice that in their new places. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry
so
for
thanks. Just actually that we all agree now that there has to be an infrastructure batch change, so that and companion. But of course, we have to, allow and make a change in the policy, because currently we are not allowing the, companion in the labor room. Yeah. So another thing, Asim, which you touched about, the duration of the is not there. It is KMC, yes or no. I would like to go to the WHO, Dr. Deepti. They make it yes or no, and yes is also even I heard one of my colleague actually who is in the practice, and even it's seen from the government. I'm not saying it's only from the private. Actually, they said before discharge we gave the KMC for 15 minutes. So I mean, the question comes actually that why we are not getting the indicator of the duration, which of course now WHO in the recent November 2022 guidelines have said. So Dr. Deepti, over to you. You can touch upon the need for the revised WHO guidelines and this indicator of the duration.
So, sir, yeah. Why is it going? Okay. So, yes, sir. So, about, I think the duration and the indicators, I think you all are the experts in this matter. So, let me start by making a point that I wanted to make, here on what I feel about this issue. I think KMC is a very good entry point, for integrating or bringing together all the interventions for preterms, because as I think you just, uh, sh- shared how, KMC has helped, bring infrastructure to the district hospitals in the form of KMC Lounge, now the MNCUs with the, promoting the concept of zero separation, immediate KMC, and so on. I think, this could be a very good entry point to see that, the entire preterm care and can be improved through this mechanism. So that would mean, all the things, other evidence-based interventions that you've already listed about breastfeeding support, early initiation of feeding with mother's own milk, infection prevention, and involvement of the family in the care and developmental care. So that is the point that I like to make, that it has a much bigger role to play, when we talk of KMC. About the indicator, I mean, that I think what we are saying is that how do we measure that, whether KMC has been, optimum KMC has been given or not. So I think you're saying that it should be at least 8 hours or up to 24 hours a day, right? Is that what you want to
Minimum 8
convey?
hours, at least, so that it should be
Minimum 8
recorded.
hours, at least 8 hours, and yes, up to 24 hours. I don't know
Because
if that's
currently
really.
HMI says yes or no.
Yes, currently HMS is yes or no, and I think I was there in, sir, and so were you present at the IAKMC scale up, the meeting that you had, and I think when they're trying out ways to record, the duration of KMC that is being given. And so let us see, is it really feasible to record, how many hours the mother has provided KMC, and whether that task should be given to the nurses or to the mothers who keep this record, and then how do we transfer this record to the HMIS? So maybe I think there is a huge merit in doing so. But I think before that, the message has to go out strongly to everyone that, when we mean KMC, it means 8 hours or more of, the mother and the baby being together. And then let's look at the feasibility, what emerges from the study. I think the scale up will give us a lot of learning. And I think we will learn a lot in how, in terms of how exactly to capture the duration and then bring it to an indicator. I think it might be too early at this point of time to do so. But yes, that is definitely something which should, be there in the future.
Thank you,
Actually,
And
can I
maybe
just add
captured
a
first
word?
in the SNC online. Thank you.
Yes, I was about to say about the SNCU online only. As of now, we are only having the coverage as yes or no, or how many babies did get it. Maybe there we can incorporate how much hours, average hours per day. Then we can get a data on that.
Yeah, only thing is, Dr. Kumda, the challenge which the WHO and the partner agencies are thinking how to record this duration, because
But
that
sir, now SNCOs they have the KMC chart and being recorded in SNCOs.
whether
They
it
are
should be
also getting the
recorded by
help.
the mother or by the healthcare provider or the
No,
nursing.
No,
healthcare.
it's most of the time it is done by the healthcare provider. But if the mother is quite intelligent enough and educated, her help is also sought. But
Okay.
most of the time it is recorded by the nurses.
Okay,
So,
we'll
sir, you
come to
can
this.
ask.
Actually, Dr. Amit has got the raised hand for some time. Amit, over to you. Your quick question or comment? Dr. Amit Upadhyay.
Till the time.
Okay, we move actually Then
Dr.
another
Chilani,
yes, yes.
if
Yeah.
you permit, I just need to say in between the webinar, because people are starting to move away, Madam has written something in the chat which says, Dr. Vani, I'm referring to, that we must develop the 10 points for successful KMC
Yes.
and include them in the accreditation units. The KMC friendly hospitals, they should be labeled or called. And she says that NNF should do it, and in the accreditation, this should be taken in. So I think, yes,
So ma'am,
I agree to it.
on behalf of NNF, we are in the process of, this is the perfect timing, because next week only we are having accreditation committee meeting of revising our criteria. And this is a very valid point. I am so happy you made it, and we can certainly put it. Now,
That's why I just brought it out that Madam has written in the chat. People may or may not read the chat. So I took the liberty, Dr. Chalani, to say it.
No, Sushma, it's rather important, and I wish that during the course, the chat questions and the comments may be brought out. These are important things for the implementation and by NNF, and NNF can take the lead in this. Sure. Welcome, Dr. Sushma.
Thank you.
Dr. Amit, you had hand raised.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. It was really wonderful listening to stalwarts of KMC. I was just wondering about kangaroo mother care. So it evolved obviously from kangaroos. And I wonder, did nature make some mistake by evolving us separately from marsupials to placental mammals? Had we all been born with a marsupial pouch, why did the nature decide not having with us in the mammals as opposed to having it in marsupials? So if KMC, then it would have been so easy for everybody just to do KMC. And I wonder why mammals did
because
not have a
prematurity is an
marsupial pouch
aberration. Because
like the
prematurity is an
marsupials had.
aberration.
So what nature had in his mind? Why did he snatch this so important marsupial pouch from us?
Okay. I think this is a area, Amit, where we can debate a lot. But you also know, I mean, how the incubators came actually and how the KMC came. I mean, if we see the history of that actually, that's entirely and totally another area where we can debate upon. But I would like to go now actually to Dr. Kumuda or Dr. Mala, anyone about the WHO guidelines. Now, previously we were saying about all babies below 2000 gram, and it is to be started only once the baby is stable. So now, what are the new recommendations so that we all should be on the common age actually?
So now they've given very clear guidelines on the babies who are eligible for KMC are all low birth weight. That means all 2,500 gram babies, less than that, and all preterms less than 37 weeks. And the three important guidelines they've given is start it early, and then it should be continuous, and it should be prolonged. So these are three things which we have to take when we are doing. So we have moved a big chunk of babies have been added in that between 2000 to 2500, and we were earlier giving for less than 34 weeks. Now that 34 to 37 weeks were added will definitely benefit from this KMC and all the advantages which has been told by Vani madam. So that is number one. And again, yeah, it is the second one is to be started in the not only in the facility, it is also to be started in the community. So in the community by the health worker, if it is a home delivery, and if assistance needed be, the baby can be transferred to the facility. So that is the important guideline we get. So we always think that KMC is the one which is started in the facility level, but they've given clear cut evidence which Dr. Vani madam has been telling for so many years, that KMC can be started at the community level even for babies born at home or a subcenter. So we need to do the health worker training.
So I
Yes.
think it's very important, Dr. Kumda, what you said in the revised guidelines. There is a large chunk of babies between 1800 to 2500 gram, and these babies are straightway shifted to the postnatal ward. I think it is our important, duty to initiate the KMC in the facility and to be continued at the home level, because generally these babies are discharged early. And
Sir, maybe that is a MNCU wards have now come, sir. And
yeah.
most government of India, as Madam Shobana Madam was telling, MNCU guidelines have been given, and most of the colleges have been asked to look for funds requested from the Ministry of Health. I think it is our duty to establish those wards and move these babies and mother together as a dyad and initiate KMC immediately and see that it is continued for more than 12 hours or 8 to 12 hours, and then it is also given at home. That is another thing. The follow-up KMC at home also is one of the important point we have to stress.
So before I give it, because the hand raise is from Dr. Shashivani ma'am, I got a message in the chat box, Dr. Shobna Gupta, that as per the government of India, now they are putting the duration also in their dashboard. Thank you, Dr.
Sir, there are a lot
Shobna.
of good questions coming in the chat box, and luckily Dr. Shushma Madam is answering them continuously.
Very
But
good, very good.
very
Thanks,
good,
thanks.
very good questions are coming, and I think there is one about LSCS also. With the LSCS rates are going 40-50% and sometimes 60-70%.
Yes.
The whole purpose of KMC gets defeated, immediate KMC. So, Madam, we need to think some out of box. Because, and Dr. Joshua Suri, Madam is certainly going to tell us, only just following the Robson criteria is not going to help us. I don't know how it is going to decrease, because the number of people are not going to decrease their cesarean rate for no reason. I don't know why, what for.
I'm coming back to Dr. Jyotsna a little bit later, but there has been hand raised from Dr. Shashivani madam. Ma'am, over to you.
Oh, madam is there. Ma'am, you are muted. Yes.
See, as far as community-based, home-based KMC is concerned, it is not only for home-delivered babies, even the hospital-delivered babies also. There is two groups. One group is which had delivery in the hospital, so initiated KMC as per the guidelines in the hospital, and then they had planned early discharge as per the criteria, went home, and they had to continue home-based KMC. And second group, which is again a major group, at least in some of our states, is delivered in the hospital. But they did not stay in the hospital for the required time, or even they did not get the guidelines for the family participatory care, went home early. And this is a major group now coming out. And they also require home-based KMC, community-based Kangaroo mother care. So we need not say it is only for the home-based care, home-delivered cases. So
Yes,
this is another major group which is coming up.
I totally agree with you, ma'am. And fortunately, I was the DSMB member in this community initiated KMC. It was for the population of 1500 to 2250 gram, and 72% of the babies were born in the facility. And that's the major chunk. And what we found, the KMC duration was given to the tune of 8 to 10 hours. And we had 30% reduction in the mortality at 1 month and 25% reduction at 6 months. So that's the added advantage. And as you rightly said, it's not only for the home births. That chunk is very small, but larger chunk is on the other side. We move on to Dr. Jyotsna Suri, the point which Dr. Bish also mentioned. Now the new evidence which has come that KMC to be started immediately after birth, as you said, within 2 hours of the birth. But believe me, saying that it is easy, but there are challenges. It has to be started in the labor room or in the operation theater. So how are you doing it, or the challenges you are overcoming? Over to you, Dr. Jyotsna.
Yes, sir. So regarding the normal deliveries, we all know that the first 2 hours after birth are very crucial for the mother also. So we have that fourth stage of labor where we have to be very vigilant about PPH. So that is the time we cannot shift the mother anywhere. But in the labor room, the baby can be on the mother's chest, and we are doing it successfully. But if, as Sir said, IKMC for unstable babies, and the baby has to be shifted immediately to the MNICU, then we need a surrogate to do the immediate KMC and transfer the baby to the MNICU on the surrogate's chest. So that is another issue. But for a baby who can remain, who is stable enough and can remain with the mother till both of the diet can be shifted to either the MNICU or to the ward, whatever is decided by the pediatric team. So it is possible, especially with the beds which we have already discussed about. Now coming to the cesarean sections, so that is a very big challenge, even to have the immediate skin to skin contact after the birth of the baby. And uh, actually we do need special staff for that, because it is not possible to, and as was already mentioned, the involvement of the anesthesiologist also. But now internationally, there are many reports, case reports, and many people have, started doing this using some special innovative drapes. So the not compromising the sterility, because the mother is covered with the sterile drapes right till the epigastrium. So how do we put the baby on the mother's chest? So the baby is slit through those special drapes which have got, kind of a area which is demarcated, and after the birth, the baby, like after a normal delivery, baby can slide. It is someone is pulling the baby from the chest area and sliding the baby to the mother's chest under the drapes. So that is innovation, and we also in our hospital are now trying to do some innovations by which we can start the immediate skin to skin contact
But you
of
have
the
to
mother.
contact the anesthetist, right?
Yes, and yes, sir. We need the support of the anesthetist definitely at that time, because it is otherwise not possible. And of course, in the we have very successfully done the immediate KMC with the surrogates. So that is something, in the cesarean section, the question which was asked, that the mother is in pain, how do we do the immediate KMC? So I think the answer for this is, you have to, if you have to do the immediate KMC in a cesarean mother, skin to skin contact is possible. But continuing the KMC, we would need a surrogate at least for some hours till the mother is stable. And then, of course, first 8 hours, as we say, the pain relief and her own, condition stabilizes. And after that, we have seen successfully the immediate KMC, is very, very possible and feasible.
Thank you, Jyotsna. There is another important question which comes, and in fact, this was asked one of by the participant in the tag meeting, which is to Dr. Vivek. You are very good. I mean, UNICEF is very good at the behavior change communication strategies. How do you think that, we have to marketing, as one of the question in the chat box, marketing of the kangaroo mother care. Somebody said bring the celebrity to do that. So is there any plan from the UNICEF side, or that to implement this, so that our healthcare providers to be first of all sensitized, and of course the demand should come from the public, that people should, or mother should ask for that, I want to keep the baby onto my chest at the birth. So unless there is a demand from the public itself, so how do you take it, Dr. Vivek?
Thank you, sir. I think this is a very pertinent question, and social and behavior change communication, we often think only of the community, but behavior change also of the care providers. And my apologies, I realized later when I said carrot and stick approach. This is where exactly we need behavior change, not just for the communities, but also the care providers. And I think one of the points which Dr. Deepti also made, that looking at KMC and Shashi Vani ma'am had clearly told that it is these three components that we need to keep re-emphasizing about KMC. So I think when we are doing SBC and promotion, community engagement, this lived experience champions, as we call them. I mean, we cannot have Shashivani ma'am everywhere, but we need to create these champions. And I think this is where UNICEF and Dr. Asim Malik sir was also mentioning that he's been working in that unit. This is where not just UNICEF, I would say all partners, and these days, the rate and pace at which innovative thinking is happening even within the state departments. And there are so many functionaries in the health system, they could also do this. So 3 or 4 things. You identify a preemie who is doing well in life, let's say after 2 years, all developmental milestones near normal with that kind of a baby. And if there was any evidence of all the functionaries and the family being engaged in the care of that baby, they should be recognized. So I'll give a live example of what we can do. In the state of Odisha, with the health minister, we had organized at the request of the then MD NHM felicitation function where individuals and teams were facilitated for, so instead of just KMC, how developmentally supportive care, KMC in the facility and in the community, all these were identified. And then individual workers, family members who did something special, or the entire team, starting from the district health officer, where the indicators were best in terms of the number of units, where maximum number of units with the highest duration of the KMC was provided. So I think this lived experience, and we call it in our UNICEF SBC parlance, human interest stories, which should be centered around a humane experience, be it the health worker or be it the mother, and also family participatory care, how to promote the engagement of other members apart from the mother, and also some social protection or schemes that provide for time of these parents. Some states also have these innovations. So I think, and this celebrity engagement, I totally agree. And that celebrity, we have local celebrities and now youth celebrities, and it could be even felicitating the health workers who could become a local ambassador in the area. This is a very important point, and we need to take it up as a campaign, because such a low cost intervention and still undermined in terms of its value of what it can do to the newborn survival, but also to the development. So many babies are surviving, and I mean, you have been mentoring so many units. All the esteemed panelists here go for mentoring, and we know how we are lacking in developmentally supportive care in the units. So intact survival is something which is bothering all of us. And I think that is where we need to see the value proposition of this such a low cost natural intervention. And SBC campaigns across board. Yes, we are ready to work with everyone, all partners, all government, state governments to do this. And that's a very good idea. And we could engage our ambassadors.
Yeah,
There are
because
many
in
of
the
them.
chat box, you have the names, so maybe we can take it forward. Dr. Shashivani ma'am has got the hand. Ma'am, this is an earlier hand raised or the current hand raised? Ma'am, you are muted.
No, I just wanted to make 2 points. Soon after birth, when we are giving skin-to-skin contact on mother's abdomen, later on in mother's chest, it should be there for at least 1 to 2 hours.
Yes. Yes.
Only then it has meaningful. Because even now, people are casually mentioning we are doing skin-to-skin contact for a few minutes. So that concept has to be changed. So that is one point. And in antenatal care itself, during antenatal period, if we introduce the concept of Kangaroo mother care and breastfeeding, it has a very good success rate, and now mothers have started demanding for KMC and breastfeeding if they are convinced during the antenatal care. So, and cesarean also, it is being routinely done in many hospitals. They have streamlined all the procedures, including anesthetist, which hand he will give, the drip, which where the surrogate will stand, or helper will stand, or birth companion will stand, and so on. So we can have those discussions in detail later on, but it is very easily possible in many of the centers.
Oh, thank you. I just want to ask Dr. Bish, we have some couple of minutes, or we have to wind up. Please let.
We have just exceeded half an hour.
Okay, so
Just
So,
exceeded
Dr.
half an hour.
Chelani,
yes,
so
yes.
Dr. Chelani, if there are some questions that are still not answered in the panel, we may quickly go through them and maybe can extend it for another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, great. Thanks. Any questions which from the audience we can take it, or from the chat box? This is a totally acceptable thing. Can someone help me? Is there any question? But otherwise, Dr. Sushma, I have got one question for you. You are working in a busy hospital, and now the guidelines say that we have to start KMC immediately after birth, and there is no currently MNCU at some of the places. And it's a recent thing, it will take some time. But still, as Madam said, zero separation should be the norm. So how in the current scenario, can you guide the people or help as an NNF president also? I mean, in situation where we don't have these space, so what are the viable options where we can do it, to collaborate with obstetricians in the postnatal ward, or what are the options you can give forward to us, or how are you managing in your own facility? Over.
Okay, so that makes it little easy. How are we managing? So, and that is what busy hospitals like ours, if they can do it, I think many others can do it. So the skin to skin contact right after birth, along with delayed cord clamping, is being offered in all vaginal deliveries, and it's happening on the labor table. The mother and baby are not shifted till that 1 hour has passed, and only then they are shifted in the postnatal ward. So in that way, the first contact at the breast also is ensured within that. So it helps in 3 ways. There is delayed cord clamping, there is this immediate skin to skin care that is provided, and also the first stimulation for breast milk to be secreted and the baby is put to the breast. So this can be done in any place, whether it is having too many deliveries or it is having just a few deliveries, because this is in the labor area. The only thing that we need to do is we need to have our obstetric colleagues understand the concept. Many of them are well aware of it and they have no hesitation in accepting it. Sometimes it is a support staff which has some issues in terms of who's going to monitor, who's going to stand by the side. So that needs to be alleviated, as I think Dr. Kumuda also talked about it. So that needs to be taken care. Otherwise, the obstetric colleagues, they have the information and awareness, and they are not averse to this idea that there should be skin to skin contact. As regards the birth companion, many of the hospitals, including ours, are promoting that a lady companion who's identified earlier itself before the woman, I mean, when the woman is going into labor, she's in the first stage. So who will be by her side? So men, of course, are not allowed at the present moment, because the labor suites are not developed in a manner that they are individual. So it's just separated by curtains. But yes, women.
I agree. There are few states are doing, like Rajasthan and other, they are allowing the companion, but I think others they have to do
They
it, and
still
that's
need
why.
to take it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
I have got a question to Dr. Sushma, the Shobna. Dr. Shobna, now you are saying that it is there in the guidelines, and naturally the from WHO, you said now it has been there in the national guidelines, and states would be asking you for infrastructure change in their project implementation plan. So how do you want to sensitize the states? Do you have a plan right now, or is it in the formation? I'm sure you must have been thinking over that also.
Yeah.
Over to you, Dr. Shubhna.
Yeah. Yeah, sir, rightly asked that definitely it is very much in the pipeline. As I told before that, first of all, in the existing units, special newborn care units, the existing practices, they need to be as per the new evidence. That is the duration of the KMC that needs to be seen, including the zero separation. Regarding the other thing, the mother newborn care unit, we are in the pipeline of dissemination, because the mother newborn care unit actually was there was a guidance note which was around 4 years back. However, the guidelines that time given were not as per the evidence which has been generated. So that was the concept, was the zero separation. However, it was for the stable babies and the proper norms were not there. So we have revised them in the existing FBNC guidelines also, and we are in the process of developing the guidelines for the mother newborn care units in our operational toolkit and the training pattern also. And it is there, very much there in our 5-year plan. Now to scale up, first, and in fact, we have already communicated to the states, because states, what the states do, they have an annual program implementation plan under National Health Mission. Under that plan, the states plan to take up and make their units for expansion. Now, the states have, some of these states, for example, the Assam state, they have already approved for 8 MNCUs in their coming 2 years plan. On the top of that, there is a provision of supplementary budget. And since the new government would be coming, again, there would be a provision of a new budget. So they can ask at that time also whenever they require. Now, with those guidelines, the state wants us to know, since we have communicated, tell us the new guidelines, how to make it, because the system is already there. So definitely we are going to cover them, telling the guidance note, and we are planning to host even a webinar with the mother newborn care unit, because they ask us separately. So we are planning to host a webinar for 8 to 10 states right now, because they have asked us individually on mails also, the 11 high burden states. So 8 states have now come on board that we want to know. Personally, their mission directors have actually contacted. And regarding the guidelines, very soon we are in the process of developing a training module for these new components of mother newborn care units, including the CPAP, how to give it to the sick baby. So we would be communicating that also very soon.
Thank you, Dr.
And we plan to do it in a scale-wise manner. First, targeting the high burden states, because the states which have an NMR actually below, they are doing it even without telling. So definitely that hand-holding would be there for them. But first, we have a targeted approach now for our 11 high burden states, where we want to reduce our SDG to bring it to the target by 2030.
Thank you, Dr. Shobna. We have already exceeded the time. So I just want to wind up with a few just quick comments that I think now KMC, as everyone says, it should not be taken as a vertical intervention alone. It should be part of the small and sick newborn care package. And that is the entry point for delivering of the other components of the small and sick newborn care. And second important, I think the message which went, that it's not that we should always first go for the, unless there is a mother newborn care unit, only then this should be done. There is a lot of scope of doing large number of babies who are below 2,100 gram, who are stable, who are in the postnatal ward. I mean, they should be initiated the KMC easily. There is another large group of babies who are inside the newborn unit for assisted feeding, but they do not require the respiratory support. Even that group of the babies can be supported with the KMC initially. And as the confidence, I think, builds up, we should go for the KMC of the unstable babies, and try to collaborate with the obstetric colleague to find out the space in the postnatal ward. And as Dr. Shobna said, Dr. Sushma said, we would have some avenues or opportunities to find out a space where the mother newborn care babies could be together. And I think we should develop the culture. Our healthcare providers have to be, of course, convinced, and there should be a culture and the total environment of keeping the mother and baby together. And I would humbly request UNICEF and WHO to use their, uh, ambassadors to also, this is an additional activity where we can, say, and we do listen to the our celebrities and other, I mean, to make this happen. Once again, thank you, Dr. Sushma. Thank you, Dr. Best and ma'am, Dr. Shashivani. It is always a pleasure to listen to you and to present this thing in front of you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Harish
you.
Shilani, sir. And in the
Thank
morning
you.
also, and in the morning also somebody was saying, sir makes it so light. Even the stressful experiences become so light by his humor, by his very concise, clear understanding of the things and focused questions. Thank you, sir, and thank you all the panelists for this.
Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Amit
Thank you.
Upadhyay, Treasurer NNF.
So just 1 second. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am, for that insightful talk. And thank you, Dr. Chelani, for this very lively discussion on kangaroo mother care and newborn survival. And of course, all the panelists, esteemed panelists who gave in their time. And we are at this hour, people still are away from their dinner. So thank you so very much. Over to
Thank
Amit.
you.
Amit, the Treasurer NNF is the future of NNF.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Dr. Suren, giving this opportunity. I would like to thank, as Dr. Sushma has already thanked, Professor Shashi Vani, ma'am, who actually is mother of Kangaroo mother care in India. And she brought it to the scene, national scene, and then to the international scene that can be done for sick babies and in the community as well. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being the flag bearer of KMC in India. I would like to thank Dr. Kumuda ma'am, Dr. Mala, Dr. Jyotsna, our colleague from obstetrics, for coming on to the discussion and making it a very lively discussion and bringing their experience in their units across the country, and what more can be done with the help of our colleagues from Government of India. Dr. Shobna was there, and Dr. Vivek Viren Singh from UNICEF was there, and they gave their insights on how we can partner with them in carrying NNF forward in doing more KMC, and many more collaborations are required over the year, especially with UNICEF, with whom we have partnered for long, and we wish to continue this partnership in the coming years to bring betterment for newborn care in every corner of the country together. Finally, I would like to thank Dr. Harish Chilani, sir, who pioneered the concept of MNICU in India through his wonderful studies, which are quoted everywhere now internationally as well. And sir brought Safdarjung Hospital to international arena, and that is so important and makes us also happy and proud. Thank you, sir. And I would like to thank our president, Dr. Sushma Nagia, to have thought of having this KMC day, celebrating it with a lot of fervor. Thank you, Dr. Sushma. And final thank to our charming and smiling secretary, Dr. Suren Singh Bis, for having this
Dr. Asim
workshop today.
from US early in the morning, and Dr. Deepti Agarwal.
Yes.
And Dr. Deepti, yes.
Yeah, WHO India office has been a
Yes,
great.
Dr. Dr. Rajesh is not here. Dr. Rajesh Khanna, I read his name.
He had a very tiring 3 days, and
3 days and
relaxing.
preparations before that. So all that put
Okay.
together, maybe he could not make it.
Okay.
So before concluding, I say one point that NNF, IIP, even the government of India should have a target that each and every delivery should be attained by trained person. Next is that there should be a slogan in each state level. Suppose in our state, we have seen that the immediate after birth, you have to Maya Chaya Gaya Gaya, that you do the skin to skin contact.
My chai,
Okay,
gaya
that's
chai.
why we are promoting the skin
That's
to
a
skin
great
contact
dialogue.
in an all state. Okay, and I think that we should promote that the nursing staff, because you still now that skin to skin contact and Kangaroo mother care is doing by the nursing staff mainly. Doctors are involved, but not involved seriously. So when the doctors also involved in this way, then it will be effective not only in the starting in the delivery room, in the essential, in the postnatal ward, and if there is a KIMSO ward and that. I hope that in future we will do that with the guidance of
Now,
Professor.
Dr. Shushma, we can have a slogan competition across India.
Yeah,
That is for local regional. I think that's a good my guy chai chai, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Amit, continue, please.
I
अब तो
think
खत्म हो गया
I had only that much to thank. And now, now
Looking forward
I
Thank
to
should
you.
this
thank the
session.
audience as well for being there. Almost 75 people are still there connected with
Dr.
us.
Dr. Ruchi Nanavati, Dr. Somshekhar, Dr. Parul Datta, so Dr. Ashwini Sood, Dr. Balram, so many, Dr. Pramod from everybody were there for so long.
We are
Yes.
really grateful to
Okay.
them actually to be part of this important discussion.
Right.
Yes, sir. It was really
Thank you,
very
everyone.
important and lightning.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
you.
Good night.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Good
A good
night.
day.
Night.
Good
Bye-bye.
day.
night.
Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Good
Thank you.
night, madam.
Good night.
Good day.
Good night,
Good night.
ma'am.
Good night.